Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. We're live on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Alan Ruff and Tam Cowan are here with me. Sometimes, Ruffy, over the 10 years, I've always said we should do the outtakes of the stuff we talk about before the programme starts. It would be absolutely priceless, wouldn't it? Do you do that with Stuart? Do you get a bit of banter beforehand?
No, we have no camaraderie whatsoever. We don't see each other socially. We've never exchanged Christmas cards or presents for children.
I know you're not.
It's a job.
Yeah. That's brilliant, Tam. Have you ever gone out for?
Aye, but you know, it's originally it stemmed for the first 15, 20 years that we worked together. Stuart was up and down Channel 4, London and all that. Yeah. I had main things to be getting on me, you know. And we never had the chance, you know. Yeah. So what it meant was, what was really, really good about it, and this is a bit like how if you ever pals that you have been a husband and wife and they've been married forever and they seem so happy, it's never a coincidence if they both work away and stuff like that, you know. And then they're not in each other's pockets, you know, every day, 24/7. So it was a wee bit like me and Stuart. So when we do hook up and go out for a wee bite to eat or a couple of drinks, it's great. You get plenty to blather about and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you find yourself academically challenged with them?
No, never, because that's just a part I've played in the radio for years, and it rolls with this.
Brilliant, that's good. I'm happy with that, Ruffy. Our chemistry is completely different.
Yeah, it's certainly not on the same level as Cosgrove.
No, thanks
no
for that,
intellect. No, I listened to their show on a Saturday, man. It's wow.
But he can lack common sense.
There are words. Yeah. And they throw some words out there that sometimes you need to keep a dictionary in the car.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, you need to have the yin and the yang to get it going. I think the best way to
he's wondering what the pandas at Edinburgh is out. That's the difference.
I was going to say to you, the point here is you're usually Mr. Calm and I'm Mr. Angry. There's lots to talk about in football, and I really do hope you can join us on our YouTube channel, because quite simply, if you do that, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, and you'll get all the notifications of when we're on Monday to Friday at 4 live. And if you download the PLZ Soccer app, it's absolutely fantastic, because there is a section on it basically in the menu where you can hit the button and we're live on it. So you can actually see us live on your phone.
What's Grindr?
So you yeah, it's rule number 1: never leave your phone anywhere where the boys are. Simple as that. One here from James, who says, listen, Peter, can you give the Highland League a wee mention? The closest race for a while going on at the moment, Fraserburgh and Bucky Thistle are separated by a point and a goal. And James says, thanks, I love the laugh for the hour on weekdays.
Yeah, I think everybody thought Brecon City were going to, win that league and come back in again to a playoff. Yeah. But again, it just shows you how strong the Highland League teams are. They all want to be part of it now. Before it was, they're up there, but they don't really want to. Yeah. But now they do want to, because they see what Kelty's doing, they see what the Cove are doing, and they all want to be in the big time.
Aye, they've seen what Inverness and Ross County have done, both who have had silverware in the senior leagues. It's tremendous, and I think long gone are the days where, remember, it used to always be levelled against Meadowbank Thistle. Meadowbank Thistle many a time would be top of the old first division, and everybody said they don't want to get promoted. That was the old they don't want to get promoted, they don't have any support and they couldn't afford the step up and da. And sure enough, they often just fell away. But there's so many clubs with ambition now. I think it's terrific, and it makes it really, really exciting.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever collected them, Tam, but I did, because I was a complete geek when I was younger. Did you ever get the Shoot or the Match Weekly? And
I was a Shoot boy.
I was a Shoot boy, and in the Shoot, they used to give you at the start of the season, it opened up and it was these little tables, tabs with the league tables.
Aye, that's right.
And I had the entire one for season 1979-80, because I think you become more obsessed with it if you're just at the tail end of primary school and into secondary school. But I'll tell you right now, the change with the clubs, as you mentioned there, that pyramid situation, and in England as well, when you look at some of the clubs that are just no longer in
I know, it's
any
incredible.
of the tabs,
I quite regularly, and I'm trying to think who it would be just now. I love a look at the 4 English leagues, and I say, right, I wonder who now is the biggest club nearest the bottom. You always get clubs away down, and you think, I'm sure they were top flight, maybe
Sunderland's
10, 15, 20 years ago, you know what I mean? I wonder who it is right now.
Yeah.
If any of your viewers can help
Who's
us
the
with that.
absolute top club that's at the bottom end?
Who's the biggest club, i.e. a club
At the
that,
bottom
let's
of
say,
the second division.
within the last 25 years, a club that's been in the top flight in England who is now right down? Who would it be?
Well, that's a good shout.
Because there's a few of them down there.
Yeah, it's a great shout, isn't it, Ruffy? I mean,
Swindon, where are they now? They had their wee season in the sun.
Yeah.
I think Swindon are away down there.
Yes,
And Wigan.
yeah, Wigan's a
quite
good shout as well. It's such a good one. I'll give you one right now. 23rd in League 2, Oldham.
Oh, there you go. Oldham for a spell. Yep.
Andy Goram's team.
Oldham. Also, Andy Gorham. Andy Gray played from, not the Andy Gray.
The big centre forward.
Yeah, big centre
big black
forward,
guy,
yeah.
really big, strong centre forward.
He played for Falkirk.
That's right. So
That's
he
it,
did.
yeah.
I
And
don't
there's
remember.
also
I
another
didn't
guy
see-
called Andy Ritchie.
Joe Royal was the manager there.
Royal was a manager, yeah. So there you are, Oldham, 23rd.
Oldham.
I think we've nailed it there. Of the big clubs that are just now
They're probably the new
languishing.
as well. Oldham still about the second best team in Manchester, though. They know.
Yeah, absolutely. After that, yeah.
Was my geography right there? They're kind of Manchester.
Yeah, no,
aren't
it
they?
is Lancashire. Don't worry about it. You're okay.
all right, thanks.
It's Paul Scholes' favourite team. Listen, James, we've given it a mention, and it's great because when you get a league as tight as that, and then you say to yourself, they could be actually in the top flight, looking to play the likes of a Rangers or a Celtic in cup competitions and all that. It's all there for you. You play at Partick Thistle. Look at Queen's Park now, Ruffy.
Yes.
You know, climbing the ladder. Okay, here's the Europa League fixtures for tonight, and the early kick-off is the one that I think we'll all be looking forward to. But there's Bayer Leverkusen against Atalanta, Red Star Belgrade Rangers, Galatasaray Barcelona, Monaco against Braga, Eintracht Frankfurt Real Betis, Lyon Porto, and West Ham United Seville. And I think when you look at the calibre of teams involved there, Ruffy, I'm looking and I'm saying to myself, you know, really mouth-watering for Rangers if they can engineer their way past this one.
Yeah, it'd be fantastic if they could. You know, that obviously they beat Borussia Dortmund, and a lot of these teams that you're talking about there will have realised that they beat them 4-2 away from home and obviously drew at home. So I think tonight, if they could get a draw or something positive, and then when the draw's made, as I said, you put down a marker of where you are, and the other teams will go, oh, we've drawn against this team, what have they done in the tournament? And they go, wow, they beat Borussia Dortmund. So that puts a wee bit of panic into the opposition. So I hope they get a good result tonight and they go through quite comfortably.
And the thing is, if they get through the night, Rangers, it's almost one of two things. They're, you know, getting ever closer to a final, which the fans would love. But if they win tonight, you're thinking, no matter what happens, it's going to be another round of glamour, you know. And you still see, obviously, that Barcelona are in there. And as much as folks say, Barcelona, they're no the power that they were just a couple of years ago, but it's Barcelona, for heaven's sake. On that note, the fascinating thing about that, again, from a Scottish perspective, when you look at the torrid time this season that St Johnstone have had after winning the double last year, you know, down there languishing at the bottom of the league. But St Johnstone started this season by getting a draw with the team that drew with Barcelona last week. It's crazy. Galatasaray, remember?
Yeah, absolutely.
What a season for St Johnstone.
And it's just kind of a crumble before them. And now, I think, Tam, having watched Dundee the other week, I think St Johnstone might be in the playoff, to be honest with you. But as far as Rangers are concerned, well, it's a big night. Every Rangers fan will be watching this who can't make it out to Belgrade. And our reporter Kerry Pollock was out there at Ibrox today to preview the big game.
Thanks, Peter. Rangers fans will be looking on with great interest tonight as Rangers take on Red Star Belgrade in Serbia after a successful 3-0 win here at Ibrox last week. But despite the 3-goal advantage, Giovanni Van Bronckhorst says it starts all over again and is well aware his side have to remain strong and dangerous to gain a place in the Europa League quarter-final draw, which will take place in Lyon at 12 p.m. tomorrow. Here's what the Rangers boss had to say about the match tonight.
Well, I think you start over again. The game last week is played. Now we're going to play a new game, and I think we have to just approach the game to have the best result possible.
Other teams in a good position to go through tonight could either be Galatasaray or Barcelona, who are sitting with a 0-0 draw from their first leg, Braga, the favourites, against Monaco in their game tonight, or could it be Lyon or Frankfurt to go through with both have the advantage in their games. But heading into the Rangers game, they have 4 players who are just 1 yellow card away from a suspension on the quarter-finals, including Alfredo Morelos, Joe Rebo, John Lundstrom and Sebastian Sakala. But the Rangers boss made it clear that won't come into thinking tonight. The game will kick off at 5:45 in Serbia. Both Rangers fans at the game and watching from home will be hoping their team can snatch the win.
Yeah, absolutely. Well done to Kerry out there at Ibrox, just previewing that game for us. And when you look at the calibre of sides that are waiting there, and obviously, but Galatasaray, Barcelona, as you mentioned, Tam, is hanging by a thread at the moment. Leverkusen have the edge by 3-2, Rafi. Although I have to tell you, Atalanta could easily go over to Germany and win.
Yeah, I think all these teams are capable. They'll all know what's at stake. The draw will be tomorrow, won't it? Usually.
Yeah.
A lot of them are poised, could go either way, but it'll be interesting to see what the Rangers supporters want. Do they want a big Barcelona, or do they just want somebody that could get them into the semi-final?
You're right, it's a dilemma now because they've progressed so far. They're thinking, might as well go the full hog now and get into the final. So maybe this would have been but you could argue, well, wait a minute, they got the Glamour, if you like, with Borussia Dortmund, who are still a huge name. They were favourites for the tournament, so they've had that. Might as well just try and get a wee charge into the final now.
Yeah, I think they'll be looking for the easiest one possible.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
And is that right then? That I don't want to be doing the fantasy stuff here for the Rangers fans. Keep calm. But if Rangers won the Europa League, right, they would go into the Champions League, and then if Celtic, let's say, won the Premiership, so you'd have both of them in the group stages of the Champions League.
Yes.
Wow. There's an incentive.
That would be awesome, wouldn't it?
Aye, that'd be incredible. Aye.
Absolutely fantastic. I'll tell you, if obviously there are some people who have friends and they like to hang about with them on a night like this and maybe go out, have a meal and then watch the game. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to do that tonight because you two are hanging about together. So I'll probably watch the.
It would have to tonight.
Not a care no more. No, he doesn't care. By the way, he would change the name of this programme to anybody.
He doesn't care. Absolutely.
So I'm going to do Red Star Belgrade Rangers.
Right.
Hopefully that goes according to plan. And then on to West Ham United Seville. Hey, we did.
Yes, West Ham, there we go. That's cool. You're right, because it's not so much trying to. Ordinarily, as I say, me and Ruffy are doing our bit for a great cause tonight, obviously. So I've recorded the game. Are we going to have a wee pact like the likely lads? Will we no mention? We'll no look at our phones tonight.
Well, that was
both get home.
That was the same the other night when we were out when Partick Thistle were playing.
Right.
I said, don't tell me the score until the end. But he couldn't. He said he wouldn't have told me if we got beat.
No, I wouldn't have.
But he told me we won, so I was quite happy.
He was elated. He was elated.
Were you two together the other night there as well?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, that's okay. I'll phone Stuart. Anyway, apart from anything, we'll watch Question Time together.
What time was the kick-off? Is it 5:45?
5:45. So it's a good one to look forward to.
It's a great. There you go as well. I don't, but for the Rangers fans, it will be. Haven't travelled. For the ones that are maybe watching it in their pub of choice, the old 5:45. You get through. You've still got a good few hours for a wee celebration.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's the way to do it. I remember the flip side of that, just briefly. A wee memory came back when, and they could maybe use this as an incentive with Rangers as well with Van Bronckhorst, but it was we did a torrid season at Motherwell. It'd be about 4 years ago now, and we were playing Inverness right at the tail end of the season at home, and if we'd have get beaten or even got a draw, we'd have been deep in relegation bother, or certainly a playoff. And that night, later that night, was a Player of the Year event down at the Alona Hotel, Strathclyde Park, right?
I remember you
and
saying that.
I said to Stephen Robinson at the time, I said to Keith Lasley, Alan Burrows, MD at the club that would listen, I says, listen, I'll do the team talk even if you want tonight, but remind those players that they're all booked to come to the do at night. If they get down there and we've just been beaten and there's suddenly a danger of the club going down, the punters might not be as cheery and as happy to dig deep and get them all a pint now, so come on. And I think we pumped them something like 4-1.
Yeah.
Masterclass.
Yeah, so maybe there needs I don't think there needs to be an incentive for any of the Rangers players. They know exactly what's at stake. Okay, as ever on the programme, Ruffy, there's just one or two things that are unsavoury that we always comment on, because we're here as pundits, we've got to give our opinion on things, and I don't know where some people are obviously so stupid that they think they can go to another country and not be noticed, and I think a few Rangers fans over there have been caught singing sectarian songs, and I really get the feeling that I don't think you'll stamp it out in my lifetime, but there needs to be something done to try and go through an education programme with people who are tarnishing the names of both clubs. I had a go at Celtic for Dundee and the songs they were singing there, and certainly some of the video evidence is unsavoury about what's been happening over there in Belgrade. It's pockets of fans who think they're invisible and basically clever in their minds, thinking they can get away with their sectarian bile because they're not in this country.
Yeah, and how long have we been talking about it? We've been talking about it for years and years and years. I keep saying it's a minority, but it looks as if it's usually alcohol fueled. They think they're just, nobody bothers, or then they think they can get away with it. And you're right, but as long as the clubs are seen to be doing something about it, and it might not be enough, but what can you do? They're out there, they're on their own. They're not under the duress of the club. There's nobody monitoring, and they really need to have a look at themselves, because they're not only damaging themselves, but they're damaging the name of the club. Yeah, that's the biggest thing of the lot.
I think as well that they're out of the line of sight when they're away from home. It's always worse. The sectarian chants, the songs, whatever, away from home, whether that's in the league, domestically, or as you're saying, in a European occasion like last night. And I reckon that the good people at both clubs, including the supporters and the folk behind the scenes, they're banging their head against a brick wall. I mean, well, listen, many years, honestly, folk been saying, "Come on, knock that in the head," and it's
100.
Aye.
Yeah. Ian Docherty comes up with a good point. He says a lot of sectarian singing has been cut out at Ibrox, but there's still a bit to go yet. I think Ian's right. The problem I have with it, and it rolls into this next story, which I think is basically, it beggars belief. Now, whether there's an administrative problem or I think it's a number of complex reasons, but there's a wee suggestion, just a suggestion at the moment, there's nothing being confirmed, that this Sydney Super Cup could be in serious doubt. Some unresolved issues with the organiser. Now, off the back of that, you have this situation where, and I would say not a huge majority, I think there's some Celtic and Rangers fans have come through, and certainly the Rangers fans, I think, I wouldn't like to quantify it. Celtic and Rangers fans just don't want it to happen. But I think it's a group of fans that really at times have got too much prominence within their clubs. There's a section in the Celtic fans and a section of the Rangers fans. It's the tail wagging the dog. And sometimes I think they pander to them, whereas all the other decent Celtic and Rangers fans, they have to pay the penalty, as if the opinion of the small-minded people, the backward people that doesn't allow the clubs to flourish and earn money, it's the opinion of those that everybody else is tarnished with.
Because you're right, because at face value, what this should have been about was both clubs sending out what would undoubtedly be a second string team to the other end of the world to allow their fans out in Australia to say, oh, that's us watching Celtic and Rangers with our own eyes in the flesh at the stadium for this event, and they're going to also get the return flight and stick a few million quid into the coffers. It should have been as simple as that, but it's all been twisted, and everybody's getting all very antsy about it, and but like that's Peter, for fans like myself don't support Celtic or Rangers, it's just tedious. It's utterly tedious,
but it's tedious because you are looking at it from a balanced, intelligent point of view.
And I wouldn't go that far.
A balanced person, anybody. You don't have to have a law degree to look at the absurdity of these big mobs. And at the end of the day, you're looking, you're saying to yourself, Hearts and Hibs over to Australia, £3 million. Thank you. Where's the plane? Absolutely. Let's all get onto it and let's go over there. The other added thing about it, which I am I am ashamed of, Ruffy, is the fact that there is even the suggestion that there could be trouble over there. You can't even conduct yourself, or even the suggestion of conducting yourself properly over there. I think a lot of Aussie expats, Celtic and Rangers, would be able to go to the game and have a beer and not care a jot, leaving the madness of this country behind them.
See them in at the sunshine. I was telling you recently about that, when you can go to like Tenerife and that. I've sat watching Old Firm games in bars in Tenerife. Celtic fans, Rangers fans, Kilmarnock fans, St Mirren, all sitting together. And there's something about it, the holiday spirit, the sunshine, the drink and all that. And everybody's best of pals, and you just get on, mate, you know. So I wouldn't go overboard thinking about the potential for trouble or whatever, you know. But and apart from anything else, too hot to cause any trouble. That, bear in mind, that is going to be the height of summer. Out in Australia at that time of year, you know, they don't get any snow at Christmas.
Are you suggesting a slow motion punch? And then, by the way, I'm knackered. No, forget
it. I can't. There's a wee, but will we chase them? No, just have another tinny, you know. But you know, I would, you know, hey, there's a bit of me saying I hope it doesn't go on. Because that's going to be mere millions that Celtic and Rangers will have compared to the rest of us, and the gap widens and widens and widens. But come on, get a grip, you know, just get on with it, get the tournament done. But the minute it was billed, I think, though, Peter, as Angie's homecoming and all this stuff, it was always going to rattle a few cages, you know.
Yeah. Anyway, if you don't want it, if it is called off, Ruffy, I think it's a sad indictment of here.
It's shocking because the supporters here have got 3 games coming up. They've got 3 Rangers Celtic games to enjoy, so why not let somebody else in the other side of the world who've never seen their clubs enjoy one day? Let them go along, take their kids along, and it's a PR exercise.
Yeah, an exhibition match, a bounce match, whatever you want to call it.
And an area where you could explore and exploit making more money out of the country with the brand. And I only have to say to you, you know, you could go to London and watch the San Francisco 49ers, you know, against the New England Patriots. That's the type of game. They understand the marketing of it. The Americans get the marketing of it. And I think a number of countries, a number of big sponsors, again, will look at this thing unfolding and watch the next couple of weeks with the Celtic and Rangers ready to play each other regularly. And they'll be looking, going, why would you get involved in it? Why?
You know what? No, if it goes ahead, many of the folk who have been criticising it will be sitting up in the small hours to watch it on whatever satellite channel it's on, because I'm assuming it's not going to exactly be played at peak time here, you know, but if it's out in Australia, but they'll tune in.
I don't know about you, Ruffy, I'd love to have gone out there to Australia.
I'd be interested to see how many Rangers and Celtic supporters, good supporters, travel to go to see it and make a holiday. No supporters clubs.
Yeah,
no, the supporters. I'll bet you there's a fair quantity of Rangers and Celtic supporters would go to Australia to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Ruffy, here's a classic. This is a great line. Derek H says, Derek H has just said, Peter, let me make sure I get this right, because I want to read it out to you, Tam. He just said, Peter, my son has just come into the room and said, why am I watching this? Because you're a big Celtic man. I responded by saying, we all try and talk in a balanced manner. Now, I give you this. I'm married to a Rangers fan, right? Mm-hmm. In my first,
Andy Cameron. Did you know that?
in my first flat in Edinburgh,
right,
when Rangers were winning 9 in a row, one of my best mates just got up every morning, just put on his McEwen's Lager Rangers top, and the banter we would have was absolutely magnificent. And last week when I'm walking down Buchanan Street on a Saturday, I wasn't at a game for a long time. A Saturday I thought I'll go down there with my daughter. And there is Martin coming towards me.
All right.
And the two of us laughed heartily at all the old times. And you think to yourself, you know, we're nothing exceptional. There's thousands upon thousands of great Celtic and Rangers fans who are pals, who don't indulge in all this nutcase stuff.
Tell me you never had that McEwen's strip one.
Still had on. I was trying to burn it off him. And by the way, 9 years is a long time, Ruffy. You know, in the flat you're thinking to yourself, I don't know how the likely lads thought about it, but 9 years was a lot of grief. But nevertheless, he was a great lad, and that's what football should be about.
And you know what, Peter, I know it sounds almost like a cop-out when folks say this, but I've always found it to be true. The vast majority football fans. That's what they want. They just want a laugh, a joke, and a carry on. Enjoy the football. If they're out watching a game in the pub, they just want a drink and a bit of a chat, and right, that's the game back on.
And most of Billy Connolly's humour was all about the workplace. You know, after a Rangers Celtic game where they all go into their work on a Monday and they'd all a wind up with each other, and that's the way it should be.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, here's something that was interesting. It was mentioned on the SFA. Well, it's not the SFA. I think it was a refereeing podcast that they do, and one of the former SFA whisters, Steve Conroy, reckons that Rio Hatate should be getting a retrospective red card for his challenge at the weekend, Ruffy. I thought it was a red card, but I'd certainly, I would question the comments of Steve Conroy. He says, I think it was nasty, which is fine, everybody's entitled to that part. He says, I think his studs were definitely showing. I agree with that. And he says, I think it was quite calculated considering the distance he had to cover. Now, that word there is open to debate.
Dangerous.
Well, I think it should be looked at.
Yeah.
You know, his studs were up. They should be looked at, and then let's get a definitive of what the referees see as. Is it dangerous and reckless? Is it either dangerous or reckless? And let's see what a panel says. You know, I
thought it was a red card.
I don't think it was as bad as the Motherwell one. Because let me explain. I thought the Motherwell one, the boy did lunge in for a distance. Hatate for me slid all the way. It wasn't a lunge into the boy's ankle. Yeah. Now that means you have to determine, was it dangerous or was it reckless?
Yeah. But so basically,
did Celtic win the game?
Celtic won the game.
But hang on, John Beaton was the referee. I've had Celtic fans telling me John Beaton is staunch, he's blue nose, he's brown brogues, he drinks with Rangers fans in the Crown Bar. How can this be the case? Surely he would have shown him a red right away. Surely he'd have chalked off a couple of Celtic's goals. This is what, I support referees, and that's what gets me. How dare fans keep having a go at these guys? I had to come out and support Willie Collum on Sunday. Yeah. There was nobody that bumped Motherwell out the cup. Apart from Bevis Mugabe, 48 seconds he lasted, and you're down to 10 men. And irrespective of what managers say when it suits them, it's no easier playing against 10 men. No. It's no harder. Playing against 10 men. It is easier. And as much as Motherwell put in a shift in that second half, and Hibs haven't been good for a while, so Hibs are maybe a wee bit wobbly and just thinking, right, let's try and protect the lead, etc, etc. But the bottom line was the whole complexion of that cup quarter final, a big game for Motherwell. Yeah. It changed the minute that Bevis Mugabe went in, and I think the fact that when he went off at the end, it has been well documented. He apologised to his teammates, he apologised to Graham Alexander. He knew it was a red. Willie Collum certainly knew it was a red. I knew it was a red as a Motherwell fan. Yeah. And, I think we need to give these guys a break. And if John Beaton, the way he has been cast in recent years, John could easily get Celtic knocked out the cup the other night if he'd have been as bent as everybody makes it. Well, it's ridiculous.
He's a family man. And
he was at school with me.
Was he?
I'll be I'm a few years older than
I've got a lot of time for him. I think he's a good lad. The one thing I would say to him, I'm sure somebody's going to give me absolute pelters for that, but the point I was going to make about Ruffy when he says, well, was it malicious? Was it dangerous? Was it reckless? He's made all these assumptions on, how bad was this tackle? I'm just about to say, Tam, if I pull this baseball bat from behind this couch, and what's acceptable?
Exactly.
Should I dangerously hit him over the head with it, or reckless, or maliciously belt him?
Another thing as well, and I had a wee chat with a few Motherwell fans, caught my pals. There was that argument as well with Willie Collum and Mugabe about, it was the first minute. And my answer to that was, so if a player in the first minute pulled a knife out his sock and stabbed somebody, they wouldn't take any action because they'd say, it was the first minute, It's ridiculous. But the other thing I would say, which the reason I was surprised that Hatate didn't get the red card for John Beaton, because I can 100% guarantee John Beaton would have at least watched the Motherwell Hibs game the day before. I guarantee he would have sat, And the minute I think Hatate went in there, it must have just brought back instant memory of the Mugabe challenge on the boy Freeman. And he must have deliberated. But again, and I thought, I'm going to get through this programme 1 week without mentioning those 3 letters, VAR. But again, it would allow the match officials just to have another wee look and, and decide what they want to do.
I think it's coming. It's definitely coming, Ruffy.
They have to find the money for it
I think
somewhere.
they will. I think they will. I don't think we're going to get to a
Go
situation.
and play the tournament in Sydney, and they come out smelling the roses. Both Celtic and Rangers say, you know what, we're going to bring this £3 million back. Are they getting $3 million each?
Yes.
Yeah, it's our $6 million, and we're going to chuck it into Scottish football, and we're going to pay for the VAR.
It's a good point, actually. Oh, there's a pig. There's a pig just flying over your head. Anyway, listen, there's good news on the programme as well. We always like to highlight some of the good news. And there's really good news up at Pittodrie. I think if you're talking about, one of those stories that you think, great, he's back, he can continue his playing career. It is Andrew Considine. He's back in the Aberdeen squad for the match against Hibs, which I think is fantastic. And Jim Goodwin has highlighted the fact that Considine is one of those people that any young up-and-coming footballer should look at him. He's a role model.
I spoke a few weeks ago about the importance of having good leaders in the dressing room and, good experience. And it's not something that I shy away from as a young manager. A lot of young managers tend to try and, sign a lot of younger players, but I always believe there's a place in any squad for 2 or 3 very good role models for the younger kids. And Andy fits that bill.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew Considine is one of those guys that I think, listen, he got a couple of Scotland caps.
And he earned the SFA millions in the back of,
Yes Sir, I Can Boogie.
Yes Sir, I Can Boogie. It was all his doing, then to get dropped to the squad to be. I would have been up in arms there. I couldn't believe that. What a heartless man Stevie Clark was.
Yeah.
Because he was at the centre of all that. But no, he's your classic club legend, club stalwart, Has he had a testimonial already?
I'm not sure, actually.
Because Willie Miller famously got 2 at Aberdeen, of course. He was there so
Did he
long.
get one for Aberdeen and one from the BBC?
No. He got
all right. Did he get 2 from Aberdeen?
2 for Aberdeen. 2 for Aberdeen. But but in saying that as well, as much as you're saying, it's great to have him back. What age is Andy Considine?
About 34, 35.
He's a utility player. He's a player. If he's sitting on the bench, you could put him left back. You could put him centre half, midfield, whatever.
Ruffy, he's a 7, 8 out of 10 every week for them.
If they get the players in that he wants, he's not going to be in the first team.
No, but he's better than.
He's better than what they've got. Yeah,
better than what they've got in that.
Well, they've only got Bates as a centre half. They've not got another centre half. So he could play in there now.
Yeah.
But I'm saying if they're going to go out and buy centre halves and everything, he'll just be a utility player, but a very, very good utility player because you can depend on him.
Well, he can play left back as well. He can play left to the centre. In fact, I think Andrew Considine could play anywhere along that back four.
And again, with the big thing being in showbiz circles now tends to be drag acts. Looking back at his Stag Night and the video he made, he was an absolute darling. I think he could have had a career in that. There's a Scottish boy that's doing great now. What's the boy's name? Is it Frankie somebody or Fran somebody? Who's been a lot. He's a brilliant Scottish drag act.
Yeah, he won that competition.
So we're into Ruffy's area and that way when he's got a drink and he's watching, he's not sure. And then you had Anton Deck bringing it to the mainstream telly a couple of weeks ago on the Saturday night. Andy Considine did it, was an absolute darling.
Have you ever dressed up as a woman?
Yes, I did it on telly. There was Jackie Bird. I'll show you the clip. I'll tell you what, I'll make a promise to any of your viewers here that I've got access to Instagram. I'll post it the video, right? Have you never seen this before?
Oh, this is you and Jackie Bird?
No. Jackie Bird, if you recall. But remember the ill-fated outfit that she wore for a Hogmanay programme, and she gets slaughtered for it. This is like 22 years ago. Joan Burney roasted her on the Daily Record, and it was just Jackie burying admission says that it wasn't right. She shouldn't have worn it, right? And so anyway, she decided to auction it for children in need, right? So we were still doing offside at the time, me and wee Johnny Watson and all Jolt the Cock. So Jackie got me involved in it. So we started a show, I kid you not, we started a show with me in my swivel chair with my back to the audience, and I just spun round. And I was wearing Jackie Bird's frock, and I was all made up in a Jackie Bird wig and all that. And we did that.
To shreds,
and no, it was fine. It was all right. But
was this the thin years?
It was. But then, as I say, it was a cracking laugh, and it was just to promote it for children in need. So I was fully done up right down to the tights and the knickers.
Oh, get that on.
Makeup and all that.
Get that on.
Sure.
By the way, can I just say
I've got a night out of him and all that.
Can I just say something to you?
You must still love it.
He has been dressed up as a woman, and believe me, he looked like Vera Duckworth. It was unbelievable. I've got the photograph. I must actually show it off. Do you remember?
I lost the bet. I lost the Hibs Hearts bet with Ewan, your man Ewan,
Oh,
and
right.
Hearts got beat. So the forfeit was I had to dress up as a woman, and Taylor Ferguson came in,
Yeah.
did all the hair and everything. It was just full boon of the handbag, the lot.
Are you forgetting that you get dressed up as a woman the first year I met you?
Did I? What was that for?
Yeah,
Your audition?
we were in Stirling. You get dressed up and you get your photograph taken in the local paper.
Oh.
You were in the dress and you looked like, honestly, you were a dead ringer for Vera Duckworth.
Apart from that, I only do it.
Cosgrove.
Do it the last Friday every month.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cosgrove did it 1 year.
I'm
He
happy
lost
with
a
it.
bet, and if you know anything about Stuart, and you certainly know anything about his politics, and you know anything about his heritage and all that, the bet that he lost forced him to go to a St Johnstone game dressed as a pearly king.
Wow.
Oh, and he did it. He had to do it as well. I think it was at Clyde. I think St John's were playing Clyde in the Cup, and he went there dressed Pearly King outfit. Oh dear.
Yeah, well, anyway, that brings us back to Andrew Considine. Great to have you back, Andrew. It was a long-winded one, but nevertheless, good to have you back. Players getting called up. I noticed Morelos has been called up for Colombia again. A lot of Rangers fans weren't happy the last time he was called up, Ruffy. You know, he never got on.
No, I was looking at all the players possibly that could be away and looking at the dates when they are away. It's all around about the 27th, 28th, and the only thing they're worrying about is obviously the Rangers Celtic game coming up. You know, how far they're travelling, when they're going to be back, if they get injured or whatever. You know, so it's a massive Celtic Rangers games coming up. So I can see why they're worried about the players.
Yeah, I meant to say, because I may have missed it, and if they actually, I know it was the weekend of the 16th and the 17th, but the semi-finals, have they been rubber stamped now, the kick-offs?
Sunday is 2 o'clock for Celtic Rangers.
Okay.
And the 12:15 on the Saturday for Hibs Hearts.
Right. And the Premier Sports showing the Old Firm game twice.
Yeah.
Right, good.
Or what they'll do is they'll show Hibs against Hearts and then talk for an hour about the implications of that for Celtic and Rangers.
Two crackers though, eh?
That's what I used to have, Ruffy.
Unbelievable to think that scenario has never popped up before in the long history of the Scottish Cup, that the two Edinburgh teams, the two Glasgow teams,
I like
in the
the
last
fact
four.
they were kept apart, do you?
Let me think. With for the Hearts and Hibs fans, you'll have worked this out before in Europe and all that, and if they win it, we still get into Europe and that. But did it work out for Hearts and Hibs? Would they have liked that, or would they have sooner gone potentially head to head in a final? I think Hearts, the Hibs fans who got roasted by Hearts in the famous 5-1 might have liked the opportunity of getting an Edinburgh final and seek revenge.
Not at the moment. I think Sean Maloney would probably like another transfer window before kicking in with that one, Ruffy. Is that fair?
Yeah, I would say so. I think although they beat Motherwell, I still don't think they're convincing as what they should be, and I think Hearts at this moment in time have just got the edge on them.
Yeah.
So the other day we were talking about Hibs saying that the tickets were too dear.
Yeah.
This is just a thought I was thinking, which is
here
quite
we go.
dangerous. Saying the tickets are too dear. The two games, the money's pooled together, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why don't they decide what they think was a real price for a ticket, and when they get their money split, refund the fans what they thought the difference was?
Because that'd be too sensible.
Because it means that the 35 quid's going to be more than what they would be getting.
Yeah, but why don't you just make it the easiest possible scenario, which is quite simple. It's 25 quid a ticket.
Aye.
Well, somebody's making some money. Certainly, SFA must be trying to get
And
something.
you know
out of
what, Peter? There was the Hibs St Johnstone game recently. Did the football for a fiver thing, right?
Yeah.
And everybody's billing and cooing, say, yeah, this is the way to do things, and FIP was too dear and all that. And a few weeks later, it's as if nobody can bother their backside, And again, you're asking fans to pay, inflated prices. And when you look at the product on the pitch, as much as I love Scottish football and cock a snook, if that's the expression, at English and European football, when you have drawn me into the odd English game or the odd European game, the standard is magnificent at times. And obviously they're paying for that, and the players are on huge salaries, but it gets to the stage, some of the Scottish games that you can watch, and you're asking entire families, to pay a small fortune to go along and click through the turnstile. It's utterly ridiculous.
You know what's coming, Tam?
What's that?
In the next month, I think a lot of people will reassess possibly renewing their season ticket.
Aye.
You know, once the heating bills kick in and everybody has to really kind of draw their horns in, as my mum used to say.
I would be astounded if a lot of clubs don't freeze the price of them again and do a really, really good PR campaign, because I'm imagining as well that all the club TV stations, you'll still be able to watch these games for a bit cheaper on your laptop or whatever, and you've got to be careful that you don't lose that sector forever, you know, because there was a chance that we lost a lot of them during COVID who may just never go back to a game. So this is where the PR departments, the commercial departments at the clubs have really got to earn their corn.
Yeah, absolutely. Players getting called up. I think, you know, some players that get called up, the managers are a little bit peeved about it. Hearts boss Robbie Nielsen, I think, was actually highlighting how good his club's standing is in football, that Daniel Atkinson got a call up.
Delighted, absolutely delighted for him. You know, he's come in and done very well. Obviously, it's a big change for him to come over to Europe and Scotland, and the different climate, different style of football. But, you know, I think he's had some really good games. I think there's still areas to develop, but just pleased to have him in that national team. I think it's great for everyone, to be honest. It shows that, you know, players can come here and can progress and get in international teams, and it's a great opportunity for them now.
Yeah, it's always nice to get recognised, to be honest with you. So well done to Nathaniel Atkinson. He gets the call up there. I mean, obviously, there are some players who always get a bit of recognition further forward, but he's done the job for them and they're happy with him. Yeah,
he's done well since he came over. I think his first game was against Auchinleck in the Cup, and he played particularly well in that one. And it's good when...
Still only 22 as a defender,
I think it's good when a player comes in and the supporters don't really know who he is, and he's a surprise package, and particularly if they do well. So well done to him.
Yeah, is this a straight iron brew coursing through his veins, or is this a kind of granny one or a heritage one that allows him in the squad? What is it?
No, he's Australian. He is Australian.
Oh, he is Australian?
Yeah, so he's straight into their squad.
Right.
So it's no problem, straight in there. 22 years of age, well done to him. I think that's a club that are happy with that. Your boys are in action against Motherwell, St Johnstone against Motherwell at the weekend. You'll be a wee bit of needle between you and
it's again...
But it's massive for St Johnstone.
Again, and you know my theory, and here it comes again about the team that can't get a win, the manager that can't get a win, the goalie that can't get a clean sheet, the striker that can't get a goal. They always seem to play Motherwell next.
Yeah.
And it happened there last week. We Hampstead, 3 blanks, 3 0-0s on the bounce, and then lo and behold they come to Motherwell and they score twice, so they put us out the cup. Here we are now playing with St Johnstone, who haven't been able to buy a result in recent weeks, and who's next up for them? Motherwell. So
your gaffer thinks this season, is in danger of fizzling out.
Of course it is. I would argue it kind of has fizzled out already. You know, we need to wait and see how it goes with the split and all that. And you know, maybe the only excitement we've got is almost in a voyeuristic sense, Peter, in that if you go back to games like Skippy Sunday when we scuppered Celtic for the league, finish your top 6, you maybe get Rangers or Celtic at home when the old firm are going for the title, and we can play a part in that, and that at least allows you an interest as the spectator there with your Motherwell scarf around your neck. But it's going to be interesting, St Johnstone against Motherwell.
Yeah, well listen, you're talking about from 9th all the way up to 4th.
Yeah.
There is 1 point between those clubs, so there's a real chance. Here's the Rangers team for the game tonight. Obviously if you're watching this later on, then you'll know the result already. McGregor, Tavernier, Goldson, Balogun, Bassey, Jack, Kamara, Lundstrom, Aribo, Kent and Morelos. I think it's made up for the likes of Orion Kent, because if you get a scenario, Ruffy, where they are coming hell for leather, Rangers might get the chance to pick them off on a counter.
So, Rangers have proved that they can do that. I mean, if you can do it against Borussia Dortmund, you would think you could do it against most of the other sides. But I think it's been well documented that the main worry is the yellow cards thing. But the yellow cards thing is only for me, defenders who have got to make a challenge and they get a yellow card. If you end up, you're on a yellow card, you know what you've got to do in the 90 minutes not to get another one.
Yeah. What do you do? I mean, Ruffy's managed in football, coached, played for years. Van Bronckhorst, I mean, for the layman's perspective here, you think, right, they've got to keep it tight for the first 20 minutes, or even the first half, and then force Red Star Belgrade cavalry charge, and then you might get a break the other end. That all sounds very, very simple. But I've also heard managers saying the worst thing you can ever do is try to play for a draw. So the Rangers, is there any chance they'll go about it with the same gusto as they went at Red Star in the first leg? Or will it be very, very cautious?
I think it'll be cautious the first 20 minutes.
It's a reverse role for the Borussia game, because the Borussia game is the first game. Aye. You know, so you're not saying to yourself, well, we'll just keep tight here, we'll just take the goals as they come. And this time they have a 3-0, so there will be a designated plan, you know, and they'll know what they have to do. But it's the old saying, innit? Keep the first 20 minutes tight.
Yeah, here's a great line from Ronnie Chapman, and I'm going to read this out because he says, Peter, I have COVID, but you won't get it if you read out one of my comments. So I'm going to read it out. He just basically says, come on the Rangers tonight. He says, I just wish I could taste my Bucky. Because that's what happens, Ronnie. You're absolutely right. But I've read it out. Ronnie, I think lots of people are looking and wondering whether Rangers can get over the line on this, and we'll find out shortly. One other little match before we go, Tam, that I want to get your thoughts on, and Ruffy as well. Last night, you know, I started watching Chelsea because I thought to myself, okay, I'll have a look at them before they have to sell everybody. But nevertheless, you know, they always looked to me as if they were going to get through against Lille, and they did. I watched it for 15 minutes, then boom, over for the build-up. Arsenal, Liverpool, and I wasn't disappointed. What a great game it was.
It was fantastic, but you have to admit, you've got a good goalie.
Yes.
You've got a goalie who makes saves, that wins games.
Yeah, that's the difference from Odegaard.
Yeah, that's the difference. You know, remember the goalie you had in, they threw a couple on the back of the net. Was it a European Cup final?
Yeah, Karius.
Yeah, this guy's a different breed. All this, he's the one that will get you to where you think you're going.
Yeah, well,
you talk about Salah and you talk about other ones.
He's the guy that made the difference, and they go back and win the Champions League. You know, he's
I actually, fantastic. And I'm blaming you for this. I actually, when I read when it was, I put the Man City Liverpool game in my diary.
Yes.
You know, I'll make a point of watching that, and I barely watch any English stuff, but that's building up to be an absolute perler.
Do you know what was great about it last night, Tam? I mean, I always think sometimes it's great if you watch players who are from Scotland. Anybody who's from Scotland, Tam, who goes down there, I always like to see them, see if they do well. Like Billy Gilmour at Norwich, I wanted them to play actually for Chelsea, but you look at those players and you think, can they do a turn? Great to see them. Andy Robertson last night, Kieran Tierney, one firing down one flank and the other, and the two of them were magnificent. Robertson in the end had the edge in a very good team, set up the winner for Firmino, but it's great to see them. I just wish one of them was a right back.
I know. No, it's great. And when you think, you know, with the two of them, I mean, I even saw the very fact that, you know, humble beginnings, because I noticed that, in fact, your old school, their Ladies High in Motherwell, they named the pitch after Billy McNeil, former pupil.
Yes.
And then when it was just chucked into the B News report, in fact, Kieran Tierney was there as well.
Yep.
And then you see, you know, his rise to fame, and, you know, sneaking into the Bullfrog for a wee drink when he was young and all the rest of it. It's brilliant to see him on a platform like that. And then Andy Robertson, who you think not so long ago was at Queen's Park, for heaven's sake. You know, it's tremendous. And you're right, I've always been like that for I was a kid. The minute there's a Scottish guy get down there, originally for me, gone with guys like, you know, Gordon McQueen or Kenny Burns or any Scottish guys, and the biggie being Douglas, of course.
Yeah.
I still say that's that thing for guys of my age. You didn't need to be a Celtic fan or a Liverpool fan, but everybody knew it was £440,000 that Douglas moved for. Just everybody knew that.
Everybody knows at certain points in your life when there's an event, you know where you were. You know, when some people say, before my time, they said they knew where they were when they heard when Kennedy was shot as the American president in Dallas in 1963. I knew exactly where I was in America, just breaking my heart when he decided to leave and join Liverpool. I mean, that's the 440,000 is the British transfer record at that time, Ruffy, but I think a lot of people were like, can't believe he's going. He was a genius.
Yeah, he was a genius, and I think any Celtic supporter of that era would agree with that. You know, it was a massive loss, and a lot of them still can't get their head round. You know, the money wasn't fantastic. You know, there must have been, I don't know if it's Kenny's wish or their wish or whatever.
Yeah.
But certainly a massive loss.
Aye. When you watch, I mean, I dug it out a few weeks ago now. I'm sure you'll have it as well in your collection. The brilliant Match of the Day box set DVD.
Yeah,
they brought it, right? It's brilliant. It starts 60s, 70s, 80s. It covers, right?
Yeah.
And when you look at the 80s and that, you know, if you think peak Dalglish, I would say at Liverpool, kind of 82, 83, 84, when he was just the class act, you know, that way the ball, even for a kick out, landing at Midley Park, a wee bit of a swivel, and then a ball for Ian Rush, invariably. He was just, you know, just incredible. He was, what a great player to watch, you know.
Magic. If you get a chance. Have you got that, Ruffy? That's
brilliant.
Set?
No, I don't have
I'll get it. I'll bring it on next week, and you can have a wee. Honestly, the way they've done it, whoever it was that put it together, and let's be honest, it was 3 great decades in English football, and it includes all the wee, a lot of the wee kind of off the pitch stories. It includes a wee bit, almost the outtakes, if you like, a couple of daft things that have happened. But
Just out of curiosity,
the very best of the goals.
Is there anybody mauled in it, or is there a love interest in any of the box sets?
There's not a love interest.
No, don't bring it in. It's a waste of time.
Right,
It's gone.
No, well, I was fortunate enough to have Kenny up close at Scotland.
Aye,
With
aye.
training, wee games, and what he could do, and
And
even a
did he
practice
show it in
game.
training, aye?
Oh, it's unbelievable. And see, every time I hear a manager going, well, that was a difficult game today. Pitch wasn't up to scratch.
Aye.
I played in Bowling Greens just now. If they have a look at the videos you've got at the conditions that Kenny Dalglish was playing in.
Yeah, I think Ricky has come up with the best of the where were you when something happened.
In football, yeah.
Yes, I was on the M1 travelling back up from London, and you know how sometimes, Ruffy, you know mobile phones, so you like to check in, phone your mum, make sure she's okay. And I phoned her, and Ricky says,
Wasn't it Ruffy answered?
No, where? Yeah, I really would have panicked. Where were you when Mo Johnson signed for Rangers? I was on the M1 and I phoned my mum and she said, you'll never believe it. Mo Johnson signed for Rangers.
I had just come out the underground, Glasgow, just out at Hillhead Station.
There proves my
on
point.
Byers
There
Road.
you are. It sticks in your mind, Ruffy.
No, I don't remember where it was. No.
Okay.
No.
There's a gag there. Don't go for it. Anyway,
I'll tell you what, my football one with that is, because think of the implications. I was at Lancaster Station on the train en route to Manchester when my then sports editor at the Record, Alan Thompson, phoned me and says, hey kid, as he called me, that's your team going into administration. And just, I'll never forget, I'll just there on the way to Lancaster Station, and it was like, wow. You know, because you just thought that was at the club.
I think the best one of that is Macca's one with Partick Thistle. The story with Partick Thistle. John Lambie were going to sign Macca. So he comes in and presses in the morning. All the photographers are there. He's got a Thistle scarf on, a Thistle jersey, Thistle tammy, and he's in the middle of the park and they're all taking photos and that. And then his phone goes, and it's Celtic.
Aye.
How do you fancy coming to Celtic? When? He says, could you come over this afternoon? He went, aye, okay. And he's taking photos and everything. I couldn't believe that when he
See, as
told
much as I mean, I remember at the time John Lambie going daft publicly. What must that have been? You'd imagine that Lambie would have been round battering down his door.
You only have to look at Tam McManus when he promised Terry Butcher he was going to sign for Motherwell and then joined Dundee. You know, I wouldn't like to have been near Terry that day. He'd have battered him. Anyway, Robert Robertson says, Peter, I can't believe you mentioned Dalglish transfer in the same breath as the Kennedy assassination. I'm only drawing the...
It was a JFK moment.
Yeah,
I get jabbed for that in the radio every week for even Stuart keeps reminding me JFK moments have got to be where globally folk remember where, you know, rather than me, you know, I can have the JFK moments about when Davy Cooper signed or when Motherwell went into administration. But you've always got, and it's great that you can tie these things in.
Yeah.
It just shows you the warmth, the love you have for football when it really resonates with you so much, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, it's a tough day for me because the friendship looks as if it's coming to an end. They two are just hanging about with each other on a regular basis now. Look, Tam's not caring. He hasn't got a care in the world. Thank you very much to everyone who actually watched the show today. Hit the subscribe button if you can. Tell your friends, share the stream. If you want, you can download the PLZ Soccer app, and that means you can watch it live on your phone anywhere. Simple as that.
And
thanks to
remember, hang on, me and Drag. I'll put that up tonight. If anybody's on Instagram, just look through it. It's up there already.
Yeah.
Me swivelling on the seat with Jackie Bird's frock on. I'll put it up tonight as well then, right? I will.
Have the attention.
And what was that dressed for in Stirling?
Don't worry about it. I'll put it on tomorrow's programme. Anyway, thanks to Ruffy and Tam Cowan. Thanks to you for watching the programme as well. We'll see you tomorrow.